Good morning, afternoon, and or evening to anyone that may be listening to this. This is the Finer Things in Life podcast, episode number 2. Today's topic is a little more personal, I think, to all of us, especially for us scholars, students who are expected to become great people in the future and expected to do great things in the future. Dreams and ambitions, success, fame, money, wealth, really anything at all that could fit into what a person's dream could be. So for today's podcast, I will be introducing my fellow co-host for today. Miss, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Leann, and I've been Ivan's classmate for a really long time, actually, and batchmate as well. So I will be his guest for today.
Yes, this is Miss Leann Hernando. We have been friends for the past 5 years, and for today, Leann, I would like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind. uh,
Okay.
of course, this will be
Sure.
personal. Feel free to share or
Okay.
hide anything that you wish to share and or hide. So let's get started. I think this is a question that 90, if not 95, maybe even 100% of children have been asked by either their parents or their teachers, especially their teachers. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, okay. So
It's
I
a very
I
common
wanted to be
question,
a
right?
doctor. Yeah, I do want to be a doctor, but I'm gonna be transparent in saying that I don't know if it's gonna be a medical doctor or a PhD, but I want to be a doctor. So it's either of the two, really.
Right, right.
That's it.
So it's a very common question because I mean, that's ultimately the law of our world, right? Like you grow up,
Yeah.
you do something, you work, you find something that you're passionate about or that makes you successful and you do it, right?
It's like
And
it's been asked ever since you're little too.
mhm.
Like career days and stuff, and you have to dress up as like your favorite
Yeah,
career or
yeah.
something.
And
Like it's
also,
been there ever since.
and also, I believe in some places in the world they have. I don't know if you've ever done this, but they have take your children to work day, where it's like the parents take
Yeah.
their children so that they can see what they do, they can see what their careers are like. Have you ever done that?
No, I actually haven't done that. But my dad and my mom do take me to their workplace most sometimes when I was young. But it doesn't have anything to do with a school requirement. They just take me to work.
Right, right. So I don't want to feed into racial stereotypes, but I must say
Yeah.
that us, being Filipinos, we are Asian.
Yeah, we
And
are.
I think it's a very common disposition for Asian parents to want their children to be one of two things, either a doctor or a lawyer. Am I right?
Yeah. And sometimes an engineer, but like that's still probably like the main things.
Yeah.
It's
I
either a doctor or a
You know
lawyer.
what? Here's the thing. I never understood, like, I mean, I understand why, but I never understood the push for it. I never understood why like, most Asian parents are so adamant about their children becoming one of the three, right?
I'm gonna be frank, it's probably because of the money
I
and
mean,
also the prestige.
yes, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I did here though? I think the reason it's because of the money and prestige, because that's what I thought about, right? Because I thought, oh well, there's a lot of jobs where you can earn well, and still it doesn't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. And then I don't know if this is 100% true, but I believe that part of the reason why that's such a big stereotype in Asian culture, becoming a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, is that I believe don't quote me on this, but I believe
I'm
it
not.
started with first generation Asian American immigrants, where it was hard to basically be respected if you were an Asian in America. And it was hard to get a job unless you had an extremely prestigious job, such as being a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. Like that, like those were the only occupations that basically granted people or first generation Asian American immigrants respect or prestige or money or success in America. And so obviously that's not for all Asian cultures, but I believe that could be very much a part of it, right?
Yeah, it could be a part of it. Yeah.
But ultimately, it is the money and the prestige, right, that seems so attractive to parents. So,
It is.
speaking on that, you wanting to be a doctor, is that, now I know I might be overstepping my boundaries here, this is a personal question, but is that something that you want to do, or is it something that your parents want you to do?
Okay, I think it's a bit of both. You can say like it's a bit of
Yeah.
both. Okay, since I've had an uncle who was a doctor, and when I was a child, you can say that I went to the hospital with him a lot because he's a pathologist.
Right.
So I go to labs with him. Yeah, he has like a a microscope in his house, and I used to like read slides with him and stuff. Like that was like my first contact with a microscope. So I look at human blood inside the microscope and stuff like that.
Right.
So it was an interest to me from the start. When I was seeing those things and I was seeing my uncle, I said to my parents that I wanted to be a doctor. But now that I've grown up and having these doubts what career path that I wanted, and also like of course the exposure as well that is given by education and stuff, and you learn what you're good at and what you're not.
Right.
Now that I'm saying that I might not be a doctor, my parents are still being like, are you sure you don't want to be one? But most of the time they just allow me to do my own stuff, and it's also because my sister is studying in the medical field, so now they don't have an issue if I don't want to be in the medical field.
Your fallout person was your sister, so now because she's a doctor, you get to be whatever you want.
Not really a doctor, but she's in pre-med. She's in a pre-med course.
I mean,
So you
close
know,
enough,
it's
so,
like going
you
there.
know.
Yeah.
I feel like as long as Asian parents have someone in their family doing something in relation to medicine, they're okay. They're happy, you know. They can settle.
I will say that my extended family has told me time and time again if I wanted to become a lawyer because I have a penchant for debate.
I mean,
They're all
yes.
like, "Are you sure you don't want to be a lawyer?" And I'm like, "No, I want
Yeah.
to be. I like science, so I don't think I would be a lawyer."
So, when it does come to being a doctor, though, and that experience with your uncle, you said that must be very personal to you. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Would you follow in his footsteps? Would you like? Is there anything about medicine that you're particularly interested in? Does what about it seems appealing to you?
Okay, so I've always known that I'm not gonna follow in my uncle's footsteps. I have never had an interest in pathology as much as I have had with genetics or anatomy,
Right.
you know, organs and stuff. So at first, at the time when I was elementary, grade 7, 8, at that period, I wanted to be a surgeon. But, and also because surgeons earn a lot, you
Yeah,
know?
they do.
But, yeah, they do, right? But
6 figures.
now I'm more interested in the physics of the body. So you can say physiology, you know,
Right.
calculus, yeah. So it's like the movement of
So
your
biomechanics.
blood. Yeah, the biomechanics. It's very interesting to me. RT-PCR, like how RT-PCRs work, that's interesting for
Right.
me. And in general, I just like bio and I like physics, and I've always been interested in the human body. It's been one of my interests. It's just a really cool for me to see how we function on the daily, like learning about yourself and things that make sense about yourself.
Yeah, I
So it makes
understand.
it like more concrete, like human life and being a human and all of these functions. It makes it more concrete and more mysterious at the same time. Like, oh my God, I've never been conscious about what my body was doing, but it does move things. So
Right.
that's the reason why I'm very interested in
Yeah.
medicine.
So, biomechanics, would you ever be interested in like being a physical therapist or maybe someone that works with rehabilitation? Uh,
Yeah, I've thought about it. Occupational therapy as well. I've also thought about that. But more so or less, I do want to stay on the biomechanics part. So bioengineering, genetics. Genetician
that's
is a
really
very
interesting, yeah.
interesting to be. Yeah, like a really interesting point to be. So it's just a matter of really finding what you like and what you don't. I'm at that stage right now where I know what I don't like, and that's better for me than knowing what I do like. So
Right,
that's okay.
right. So, you said you're interested in biology and physics and how the human body works. Um, though I do have to ask, because I do know this. You're not taking biology this year, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm taking physics.
Now,
Yes,
for those
I'm
of
a physics
you,
chem person.
for those of you that don't know, if you are anywhere from grade 7 to 10, if you're listening to this podcast, the moment you reach grade 11, we have majors and electives, or basically your major and your minor. Currently, I am a biochem student where biology is my major and chemistry is my minor. And a large, I would say maybe half of our batch is biochem currently, if not maybe like
Yeah.
40%. But a majority is biochem. I wonder why, gee, but as for you, for a person that is as interested in medicine as you are, you've decided not to take biology. Why?
Okay. So I've known I like bio for a long time. I've liked it since I was very young. It's one of my best subjects. There's no denying that. Like, it's one of my best subjects. If not, it is my best subject. But physics doesn't come as naturally as it does to me in biology. Biology, I don't mean to brag or anything. It really does come naturally to me. I enjoy it. It's fun. But I met physics and I really just got interested in physics when I went to grade 9. And I never thought when I was in grade 9 that I would be a physics major at grade 11, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed mechanics. I enjoyed circuits when in grade 10. And when I was deciding my major, I was like, well, I already have bio. I know I like bio. I know I'm good at bio. Why not try something I am unfamiliar with and see if I can do this forever or dabble with something unfamiliar so that when I get to college, I have a more concrete feel of what I want to do. So that's why I went physics.
Right.
That's the reason.
Well, I
Yes.
mean, do you have any plans to take biology? Because I feel like that's a requirement for getting into a biology-based career.
No,
Uh,
no, I don't have a plan to take bio. I do have a
you don't?
plan to self-study bio in the summer, so that's a thing.
Right.
But I'm not gonna be a bio minor next year. I'll probably take engineering.
Right. So, what are you
So yeah,
currently studying right now?
I'm studying physics chem,
Phys chem.
organic chemistry, phys chem.
So,
In our batch, there's only 5 people who's in phys chem.
right. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
but
think about it, it's a very weird combination,
combination,
yeah,
yeah.
it's for a lot of people. There's certain combinations that just they mesh well. It's like peanut butter and jelly. It's like bacon and
Yeah,
eggs. Rice
yeah.
and literally any food. It's like certain things mesh well. Like certain things make sense and certain things don't. And so, like,
Yeah.
for example, biochem is extremely, like, popular because it makes sense and it's a big requirement for becoming a doctor because a lot of human anatomy involves both biology and chemistry. On the other hand, if you take something like physics, which is very numbers based, you'd take something that is either connected to mathematics or you would take something that connects to maybe something more physical, like tech or engineering. For example, physics and technology would be a good combination. Physics and engineering would be a great combination. Bio and chemistry
Yeah, a
would
lot of
be
people
a great
think that.
combination. Physics and chemistry,
Yeah.
though, that's a little bit of a weird combination. So I'd just like to ask you, why? Why physics and chemistry?
I I knew I needed org chem. I know I'm already planning to take a medically related course, and I was very interested in biophysics. And if you know one thing about biophysics, you cannot connect bio and physics without chem. Chem's always going to be there. It's just a natural thing that chemistry is like the center science. You can't quote me on this, but it is like kind of
I mean,
referred to as
in a lot of
center
ways, yeah, I
science.
would agree with you. We are
Right?
made up
Like,
of atoms, after all. I don't think you could do
yeah.
anything without chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a requirement that I knew that I wanted to get, and also because I'm not that good in chem.
Right.
By the way, it's not as natural as biophysics. It's not easy as studying biophysics. Chem is a very hard subject for me.
I think being
So
good
I
at
was
chemistry, yeah.
I was thinking just finishing chem now, and then in college it's gonna be an easier time because I'm just gonna review what I've already learned. That was my logic.
I think being good at chemistry is just a God-given talent, you know? I feel
Yeah.
like just sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you really just like, maybe you should just accept that it's something you're gonna struggle with. I struggle with it so
Yeah.
much. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
Yeah.
I'm managing, but it's not my forte, definitely not.
Yeah. I will
Um,
say it's especially rewarding once you have these challenging subjects and you
right.
do good on them. It's especially rewarding, and that's probably part of the reason why I also take physics chem because it's very challenging for me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I do want to ask though, because this is what I was also wondering to ask this since the beginning of our conversation, because you brought, or
Yeah.
I brought your parents up. Um,
Yes.
I want to know, what are their jobs like? Like, what are their careers like? What are their occupations like?
My father is a oh wow. Oh, anyway. I'm
Is it
very
is it a
yeah.
is it a hard question to answer? I don't.
Not really. It's just I don't really like disclosing my parents' jobs. But you know what? It's
No,
okay. So
okay.
my
You can be
father.
as general as you want. You don't have to be specific at all. I'm not asking you for
Okay,
your
okay.
ASL, you know? Like what do they do, you know? I'm not asking
My
what is
mom.
the
Okay.
address of your parents' jobs, you know?
Office. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna start with my mom. My
Right.
mom's a teacher. She's not a teacher. She's a professor. She teaches
College.
in. Yeah, she teaches in college. She's currently doing her work, PhD work. So she's getting
Right.
her PhD.
So how
Yeah, she
long
is.
until she
Uh-huh.
accomplishes that?
We're hoping. Um, uh, we're hoping. We're really hoping, and I'm gonna knock on wood for that. You know, that she graduates this June.
This June, your
She
mom's
will
gonna
get her
become a
PhD
doctor.
this. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, don't congratulate yet. That's why we're knocking on wood because
Okay,
no,
okay,
she's
I'll
not
knock on
done
wood
yet
too.
with her dissertation. Yeah.
There, I'm knocking on wood too. But you know,
So yeah, she's been a professor for a really long time. She likes
right.
academia. She's good at writing. She's really good at research. So that's what she's been doing. But before that, she was working in TV5. So she was
Oh wow, I didn't
communication
know
arts
that.
major.
I actually didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I didn't know that my parents met in TV5 because they were both working in the media. That's where they met.
You
Anyway.
told you told okay, off topic. I'm sorry, I have to talk about this because this is news to me. You told me they worked in media and they met because of media, and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know they were working for TV5.
They were like pioneers too. I think TV5 was a new station back then. Well, my dad
Oh,
was
really?
went in TV5 on a new station. Yeah. and my father is a broadcast engineer. Now you know why I like physics. So just kidding.
Right, right.
My dad is a broadcast engineer, so it's a very curious question. What's a broadcast engineer? Well,
I don't know what that
it's
is.
basically, yeah, you don't know. So I'm just gonna explain for all of you guys who's trying to find a career. Basically, it stems from electronics communications engineering. So that's electronics communications, right? But that it can go with different fields like research, bioengineering. You can go there, but he really liked broadcast, which is the media. So what he does is circuits, wirings for the studios, and then they also do camera designs for the cameras of like a media and tech, and that's what he does basically.
Right. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this is out of bounds, but I mean, it's a little bit of an existential question, but I really do want to know because I think this is very important and I think it really should be addressed when you're picking a career.
Okay. Okay.
Are your parents happy with their jobs? Like, do they enjoy their jobs? Are they both happy and earning well, or how is it?
My mom is happy. She thinks that teaching is a very fulfilling job. She loves it very, very much. In terms of earnings, I think she earns good enough. Like she earns a lot. Not really a lot, but she earns good enough. Naman. And my dad, well, is a businessman. He doesn't, okay, I will say he does his technical side of the business, but he is a businessman in their industry. So what he does is build studios, build antennas and stuff like that. If you
Right.
see like a media tower outside, you see like those red and white thingies
Yeah.
that are very high. They build stuff like that. I
Right.
will say that I can't speak if it's well earning or they're happy with their earnings, but we're okay. So
Right.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I'm okay. I have a pretty good lifestyle and stuff, so I can't really judge, you know.
Right. I mean, speaking on happiness, because I feel like that. I mean, a lot of people might call this optimistic or maybe like naive, even. But I feel like happiness really is the number one most important aspect of a career, right? Or of a job or an occupation. If you're not happy working, then you're going to burn out, you're not going to enjoy your job, you're going to hate your job, and it's going to feel like the same unlikable routine over and over again, because for most people they work like anywhere from 4 to 6 days a week. So if you
Yeah.
don't like your job, it's not going to turn out well for you. Even more so if you are working a high demand jobs, or a job that is very demanding on the people that work those jobs. For example, doctors who in a lot of cases I've heard that, for example, residents, basically like surgeons in training, they essentially have like 36-hour shifts where they have to tend to patients for 36 hours straight, and then they go home and sleep, and then the next day they have to do it all over again. Being a doctor is one hell of a job.
Very hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's extremely
Yeah.
difficult. Which is why I think that if anyone really is going to become a doctor, you have to be absolutely sure that you want to be a doctor. I don't say that to scare
That's true.
anyone out
That's
of being
true.
a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just I have
I can attest to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I have heard way too many stories of doctors who have either burnt out extremely quickly, or they resigned very early on, or they just stopped being
Yeah.
doctors altogether because they could not handle the workload, or they just did not like their jobs. They were not cut out for the job that they studied for, essentially. And when
Yeah.
it comes to being a
It
doctor,
takes a lot of passion.
right. It really does take a lot of passion and ambition to chase after such a high demand and high risk
Demanding.
job. And
Yeah.
when you also consider as well that you are essentially spending what is 10 more than a decade of your life studying for that, like working, educating yourself for that one job, and then you find out only once you start working your job that, hey, maybe I just wasn't cut out for this. Like, could you imagine how devastating that must feel? Like, to work
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
decade or more for a job, and then you realize halfway through it that maybe you're just not cut out for this, or that like you don't like
I will say,
working that way.
yeah, it's very common though. I feel like it's so common for those things to happen, but it's also, you shouldn't fear it. Like, you shouldn't fear changing your mind 10 years in and just realizing that, oh, I don't like this thing. You shouldn't fear that change of perspective or change in life. It might be a little bit scary, and it will be. As of course, I don't have any experience, but
Right.
I will say that uh, you will be happier for it if you do find the thing that you want to do. So
Right.
I will say I'm
Speaking of
confident in that.
passion and things you do want to do, now I understand that you seem very passionate about the human body, anatomy, medicine. Do you have
Yeah.
any other interests, passions, or do you have any other things that you like or are passionate about outside of doctors, medicine, the human body?
As I said before, a lot of people are telling me to become a lawyer because I have a
Right,
penchant for debate.
right. But I mean,
No,
even that's a
and
taxing job, right? Because I feel like when you're a lawyer,
yeah, it is.
you essentially have to debate every what few days,
Debate.
like
Yeah.
every
Also, like, you have to study a lot of material
yeah,
every case. It's a taxing job.
and potentially
I like,
you're defending criminals. It
yeah.
really
If
is a
you're gonna be a
difficult job,
criminal lawyer,
right?
if you're gonna be a criminal lawyer, it's gonna be difficult. I will say that I've thought of it before because I am good at speaking. A lot of people do tell me that I have a talent for public speaking. It's been there ever since I was young. I have a talent for public speaking,
Right.
and I like it.
I
I
can
like
tell you're very
uh,
confident.
yeah. Yeah, I like speeches. I like debates. It's one of like the most fun things we ever do in Socksai, debating and
Yes, we have been
it's
competing since grade 7.
yeah, on that field. It's fun, but I don't think it's something that I would make a career out of.
Right.
It's always been STEM for me. I also like writing. Maybe I could be a writer if I wanted to. I like sewing clothes and I like designing clothes. Maybe I can learn to do those things and I can be, I don't know, some icon in fashion or like do dabble on that field. But it's it's always been STEM for me, I think.
Right. I always see in like I always see in what's it, is it coming of age? Is that what the
Yeah,
genre is
coming of
called?
age.
I
Yeah, like coming of
always,
age.
yeah, I always see in like coming of age movies or TV shows, like people are children or teenagers essentially getting denied their passions because their parents think that it either won't support them or they won't become anything or they won't succeed.
Yeah.
And on that end, success, what is success? I understand that's a very like big question, that's a very existential question almost, but success, what is it? I want to know what it is to you. What is success to Leann Hernando?
What is success to me?
Right.
I this is gonna sound very I want to have money, most probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds, yeah, obviously, like I'm sorry, but it seems like, oh my god. Yeah. One of the things that attracted me to medicine is, of course, helping people. That's the number one thing that's
Right.
attracted me ever since. I want to help people. I want to be a good citizen of the country. I want to serve my country.
But you
and things like
also
that. That's
want
all
to earn
been.
6 figures a month.
Yeah, like you also want to earn six figures a month, and I have a reason for that. It's because if you're not in a stable place,
Right.
if you don't have a steady income and you can't feed yourself, you can't help others.
Right.
Like you can't feed yourself. You can't help others without having any burden in yourself and any regret. Like, oh, I should have just kept that for myself.
Hmm.
Like you have to have that kind of money to be able to help others as well.
Yeah.
And I do believe that money doesn't buy happiness. That's just a fact that money doesn't buy success. But I do also believe that you can't be happy without money.
That's the best thing
Like
I've heard all
you
day.
can't, yeah, like you can't be happy without money.
Yeah, that's very true.
We're learning this in economics. Like there's no free lunch.
Yeah.
In economics, there's no free lunch.
Yeah.
It can apply to real life too. You have to pay for things that you have, and you have to work for the things that you have. It's not just gonna be a snap of the fingers and oh my god, the blessing's here. No, you work for it.
Yeah.
You work for what you get. So yeah, I do believe that success in a way is connected to that, where you're in a comfortable place of where you can support yourself, support your family, have enough to also give out to other people.
Hmm.
That for me is success.
Right. So, I mean, success is different for a lot of people, no? I mean,
It is. It is different from a lot of people.
I know many people that would say, "Oh, success is helping people. Success is seeing the smile of children when I help them. Success is,
Yeah.
success is having the next 3 generations of my family be so rich that they never have to work ever again." Like
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
I always listen to and hear all sorts of different types of success, but I think the one thing, like you said earlier, that really does attribute to success is money, right? I think that's very important, being
Yeah.
financially stable. I don't think you need to be, like, you don't need to be Elon Musk, Like, you don't need to be a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
multi-billionaire to be successful. You don't even have to earn 6 figures a month to be successful. I think in terms of being financially stable, you just need to have enough to be able to provide for yourself, and maybe have a little left over to treat yourself every once in a while. I think that's enough to call yourself financially stable. Financially stable isn't necessarily successful, though. I would say, for me personally, at
Yeah.
least.
It really depends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I
for
feel
me,
like I'm the kind of person, yeah, who wants to be a very ambitious person. So I would I would also like agree with that financially stability is not really success. Substantially, people always want more, and that's the thing. It's human nature, I guess, and it's to the point where it's to the point where I I think that just a little leftover is not gonna cut it.
right,
It sounds so greedy, but it's just a fact of it. You can't hide from it, you know.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, as our economics teacher once said, you know, you can't
Very
really,
good.
like, I'm gonna stop talking about why money is so important. I feel like I am talking way too much about the importance of money. I feel like I've been brainwashed by my parents. You have to have money. Wait, is this? Oh no! Oh no! maybe if I ever become a parent, maybe I'll end up doing that to my children too. You have to have money. You have to earn
No,
six
but
figures
I
a
feel
month.
like
You know?
I would also be that kind of
Like
parent. To be honest.
it's like I'm being brainwashed into believing that I need to be rich. I need to have so much
You
money.
know what? I'm gonna be transparent. I wasn't always like this. Like before the pandemic, I always believed that just give whatever you have to give, or that's
Right.
just true helping and
Right.
things like that.
And
But
then you
now,
grew up.
uh, yeah, now that I grew up, like I'm still like kind of idealistic, right?
Yeah.
But it's also to the point that I want to do things and I do want to help people and I want to do it with sincerity. And I can't do that if I'm not financially stable.
Right.
I can't do that if I'm not financially stable.
But I think
So,
also you definitely have to be happy, right? Like happiness
yeah.
is, I mean, it's debatable, but I would like happiness and financial stability. They're very, some people would choose one over the other. It's very debatable. You can argue about it all day as much as you want, but ultimately you need both. And I think
Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing that I want to pass on to the audience, is that you have to make sure that whatever career it is that you choose, you make sure that it's one that you will be content with. Because working a job that you don't like, I mean,
very taxing.
it's like imagine like, I mean, I assume the majority of my audience is going to be PSI students, considering, well, I'm sharing this to PSI, but
Mm-hmm.
consider it like this. What's your least favorite subject, Leann?
Oh, that's,
You can
that's,
be honest. You don't.
iffy.
You. I'll say mine. If I'll say mine, if you
Scam.
say yours. No, it's not
It's
Chem.
scam.
It's not Chem.
Really? It's
Yeah.
Filipino.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Filipino.
I knew it. I knew it. It's Filipino.
And you know the
For me,
reason
it's
why,
not.
right? I'm not gonna explain
I
the
do
reason
know the
why.
reason why. Yeah, yeah, I do know the reason why. For me, I can't say it's chem because I like the challenge of chem. Oh my god, it's very math.
Math.
That comes from a
Yeah.
physics major, guys. That comes from a physics major. I only like math when it's physics. I'm
Right.
so sorry, but it's the truth. That's why calculus is kind of I like calculus.
Yeah. I
And
feel
I
like
Kaido.
even though they both deal with numbers and values, there's a very, very big difference between physics and math. They
Yeah.
are not the
Yeah.
same subject. They're really not.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like math.
Ultimately, though, it's onto what I was talking about earlier. Imagine your favorite subject. Imagine you were, uh, I don't even want to say it now. I feel like my Filipino teachers are gonna get mad at me for this, but I mean,
No, imagine you, Ivan, teaching Filipino.
No,
though.
no,
Like,
no,
that's
no, no.
so not.
So the reason why I bring that up is because imagine trying to actively study your least favorite subject every single day, multiple hours on end for what is approximately 4 to 5 decades. That
Yeah.
is your life if you choose a career that you do not like. You are studying a subject you don't like for hours on end every single day for years. It's really not a good idea. And I don't mean Filipino specifically. I think Filipino is great. It's a beautiful language. I love my Filipino teachers. It's just
Yeah.
personal reasons.
Yeah, it's also like I was saying that math. I only like math when it's physics. It's fun in some aspects. Like math can be fun. I have fun doing it sometimes, but it's just something that I will never ever pursue. Like no.
I am barely surviving calculus.
Yeah. I feel like this quarter is kind of fun because it's application and it's like physics stuff. That's why I'm kind of
physics,
chill with
yeah.
math right now. Yeah, because it's application of derivatives and it's all derivatives in physics right now. So I'm just like, I'm fine. But that's what I was saying earlier too. Like I'm going to go back with I know what I don't like. As of now, I said I wanted to become a doctor earlier, and it still stands true, but I don't know what kind of doctor I will be. I am in a point where I'm confident with what I want to study, and that's very important. I'm confident in what I want to study in college, therefore, I'm confident in what course I'm gonna take or what course I want to take. And that means that all those job opportunities, all those career opportunities, it would really open up in the course that you go to. Because they have a much more tailored fit way of telling you what career you might get Because now it's career that is related. For example, I wanted to take microbiology. Careers related to microbiology, not just in a general sense. And that's much more going to cater to what you want to do in the future. I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, that's why we have career guidance, career guidance,
Yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
because the school wants to make sure that we actually choose the careers that we want to choose. Has career guidance been helpful to you at all? I mean,
Me?
that's a. Are our guidance teachers gonna listen to this? I don't know. I hope my
I don't
podcast
know.
isn't popular enough that it reaches the guidance teachers.
I will say that they have helped me. They
Yeah.
have helped me in deciding. They've helped me realize a lot of things. They've been very helpful, I think. You, I've approached them about my career a lot at times, and I tell them what I want to do. I tell them what I need to do. I think it's because I'm a kind of person that you know me, Ivan. I'm the kind of person who's
Yeah.
very fixated. You can
Right.
tell I'm very fixated. Like I know what I want. I know what I want and I know what I don't want. Much more strongly with the I don't want part. So I feel like for me, it's kind of easy to just tell them that, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want things relating to this. So what's your advice for me? And they can give me advice because I'm very particular with what I like and what I don't. But to some people who doesn't have any idea, that's where it's kind of like a question mark,
Right.
you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's very it's very common to be confused about what you want to do because that's such a broad question, right? Like you're born into this world and then all of a sudden you find out because your parents tell you, hey, in a few decades, I'm not gonna be around to hold your hand. You're gonna have to do your own thing yourself by yourself, or maybe you have a partner and you do it with them, but ultimately you're going to be in charge of yourself. And to people, to kids, to teenagers, to young adults that aren't by themselves, that's a scary prospect, isn't it? Like that's
Yeah, it
like to
is.
me it's scary because like
It is.
personally, I like during college I want to live by myself. I want to have my own like studio apartment in Manila, and I want to study in UPM, and I just want to live by
Yeah.
myself, like buy and cook food
Yeah.
for myself. I want to clean my own apartment. I just want to be by myself, right? And I'm very
Independent, yeah.
yeah, I'm very determined in that aspect, but at the same time, it's very
It's
scary
very scary.
because like I'm alone, I'm going to be alone. It's just me. Like you can say,
Yeah.
oh, you have friends, oh, you have your family, you have your peers, you have your classmates, but that's not true because ultimately you make your own decisions. You are alone. There's only one voice in your head and it's yours, and you make your own
Yeah.
decisions, you make your own future. So as much influence as your parents could have on your decisions in life, ultimately it's you who's
Ultimately, it's
going to
yours.
choose. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
your life to live. And so I think a lot of people, I mean even adults still don't know what to do because they're scared. They're afraid of multiple things, really. They're afraid of failure, they're afraid of not living up to expectations, they're afraid of not being good enough, they're afraid of not liking their job. A lot of people have anxiety and fear about what they want to do. And I just want to say to everyone that might have the same fears, because I have those fears, that it's okay. It's okay to be afraid.
Yeah.
It's okay to have anxiety about the future. It's okay to be afraid of not living up to expectation, or it's okay to have a fear of failing. It's okay to be afraid of
Yeah.
becoming an adult. You know, sometimes you just want to be Peter Pan and be a child forever, you know? There are a lot of
Yeah. And at
times.
the end of it,
Mhm.
it's like we're all just figuring stuff out.
Right.
Like we're all just figuring it out.
There are a lot
You
of
learn
times
as you go.
where,
That's just life.
yeah, there are a lot of times where like, I don't know, if I had a lamp like from Aladdin and I had three wishes, my first wish was that I have zero responsibility whatsoever. I have no obligations to anyone.
Yeah.
I just want to be a free spirit, you know? But ultimately that can't happen because I don't want to sound like Joker, but society, because society is structured that way, where you kind of have to be an adult. You can't stay a child forever. And, you know, to those people that are afraid of becoming an adult, like me, or, you know, not being a kid always, you know, having responsibility suddenly, having to work for yourself, it's okay to be afraid. So don't worry about your future.
It is.
Don't worry about your future
It
too
is.
much, you
Yeah.
know. I feel like thinking
Yeah.
ahead and like planning the different steps in the future that you're going to take is important, you know. It's important to have a game plan. But ultimately, if you think about your future too much, you're going to overwhelm yourself. You're going to
Yeah.
think, "Oh, what if I fail? What if I fail this test? What if I fail to get into college? What if I fail to get accepted into the course that I want? What if I fail like the board exam? What if I fail to get employed?" Like all of these fears of the future, it's not good to stack all of them up. Thinking about your future is
Yeah.
important, but it's not healthy when done improperly and when done too much.
Yeah.
So, the biggest advice that I could probably give from my experience is to take things one step at a time. Don't rush yourself. Don't plan like a 150 step guide to success. You don't have to plan out every single day of your life up until you die. Like you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You can just do,
Yeah.
for example, something that I do that actually helps quite a lot because it helps me feel accomplished is I wake up and I will open my notebook and I will write a list of things that I
And
have
you
to do
write
that
down
day.
the things you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I've found
Yeah.
that for me personally, writing things in
It
advance,
works. Yeah.
writing things in advance doesn't work for me personally. Writing things on
Really?
writing things on the day though, that works for me a
What
lot.
is it?
Because I found that when I write things for myself in the future, two things will happen. Either I will not stick
You'll be
to the
disappointed
schedule.
if you don't do them.
Yeah, I don't stick to the schedule, and because of that, I'm disappointed in myself. Or like
Yeah.
I one time, you know, we're PSI students. We take on twice the amount of workload normal students have. So I took a look at my like to-do list. I made a to-do list for like this was a few weeks ago, or this was not a few weeks ago, a few months ago actually. I stopped doing this months ago. I made a to-do list of like an entire week, and this was very close to exams, so I had a lot to do.
Very.
I looked at my week schedule, all of the things that I had to
You
do
got
in that 1 week,
overwhelmed.
and I almost cried. And I am not afraid to admit
Yeah.
that because it looked like an upside down. It looked like an upside down. Oh, Ma'am Glyza would be so disappointed in me. What's the word for data, or like the curve thing?
Oh my. Normal distribution.
Yeah, whatever. You know what like an average. Distribute. I didn't listen to statistics. Okay, I don't. Bleh. You know what like
No,
a
I
norm,
didn't
you know what,
listen
like
as
a
well. I just studied it recently.
imagine like a distribution, but like instead of like a curve, it was a flat line. And it was it was really big from like 0 to 100. It was just completely filled up. I almost
I
cried
will
because I
say,
was extremely overwhelmed just looking at my weekly schedule. So I figured,
I will
wow,
say like
yeah,
for me, it works if you just keep track of your deadlines and then do a to-do list. Like that just works better. I feel like,
right.
yeah.
See, you're
There's just
organized.
a difference, you know.
Yeah, there's a
I'm not
difference.
that
You're organized.
organized.
I'm not.
No, I'm not that organized. Oh my god. Okay, I'm
You're
not that
way
organized.
much more than I am at
I
the
may
very
seem
least.
organized. I'm not. I'm not. Yeah.
It's like,
I will say like people have helped me a lot. Like the people, my environment right now, it helped me a lot to like manage my time and grow as a person. I study with people now and they're the ones who's like, "Oh, let's study today. Let's do this requirement today," and we do it together, which helped me a lot really. Like shout out to yo, you know who you are, but it's helped me a lot. It really is different for a lot of people, you know.
right.
There is difference with planning your future and obsessing with it. I always tell this to my friends now because I've went through it. Believe me, I went through it. I always tell it to my friends that it's kind of useless, isn't it? Like to think about your future or to panic about your future.
Right.
Like thinking about scenarios that hasn't even happened yet.
Because
You get
ultimately,
me?
the future is unpredictable, you know? Like,
Yeah.
there's no point in, like, obviously it's okay to fear it, but ultimately, if you think about it, there really is no point to being afraid of what you can't predict, you know? Like, of course
The unknown.
you can control certain aspects. Like, for example, if you're worried about the future of your test score, you can change that outcome. If you study, it'll be good. If you don't study, it'll be bad, right? But you don't have to fear factors that are out of your control, you know? Like, for example,
Yeah.
if you, like, for example, if, for example, it rains and you don't have your umbrella, you couldn't have predicted that, right? I mean, you
Yeah, it's like
can, but whatever.
it's like you have to find the balance and it's so hard and sometimes you trip because I do that all the time. I overthink as well, but you have to catch yourself when you're thinking when you're going that down road. It's like
Right.
sometimes you can't, sometimes you just spiral, but
Yeah.
you
'Cause
have to find it, the
yeah, otherwise
balance.
you spiral down into an existential crisis, which is not a very
Yeah.
good thing to do
Yeah.
or happen. It's bad. So
Yeah,
ultimately,
it is.
you don't have to be afraid of your future. And as much as possible, you shouldn't be afraid of your future. You shouldn't worry about it. Ultimately, you have to take
Yeah.
baby steps, you know? Like as much as possible, like taking giant leaps towards your future is going to speed up the process, but it's also going to tire you out just as quickly. Ultimately, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Like
get to
I'm
your
quoting that poet society here. I'm gonna quote that poet society here. It's like life goes by pretty fast, so if you don't stop once in a while to look around, you might just miss it.
Yeah. I mean,
Get like very philosophical.
yeah. I mean, ultimately, you're gonna get to your destination eventually, right? So, if you're going to get there eventually, you don't have to worry about which road you take, because ultimately, you're gonna get there. Just enjoy the journey, you know? Don't
Yeah, enjoy
be
the
afraid
journey.
of failure. Don't be afraid of not succeeding, because ultimately, you might be delayed by a year, or 2, or 3, or you might be delayed by 10 years. You might not even get the job that you really wanted, but ultimately, you're gonna get there. Maybe
Yeah, you
not
will.
today, not next week, not next month, maybe not next year, but eventually. One road will take you there.
Oh my god. When we talk, it always ends up like this.
I mean,
It's like very solemn.
I mean, that's I at the very least I want, you know, I want people to take in my advice, and so I want this to be personal.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it's like I don't know who has to hear it. but it might help you to hear something like this, like
Yeah.
literature and literature in general. It does help a lot to read, to watch things, to listen to stuff. Like it will help a lot. It's gonna help. Like I don't know, there's something magical about literature, or that maybe that's just me, but yeah.
Yeah. So,
Ah,
for now, that is all we have for today. Thank you again, Miss Leann
yeah.
Hernando, for co-hosting today's episode, Dreams and Ambitions, with me.
Yes, it was very fun. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you've gotten to this point, it's fun to talk to Ivan and to you as well.
Is
So
there
it's kind of nice.
so this is the end card. Is there anything that you would like to share with the audience? Is there anything you would like to shout out? Maybe your scale activity, you can tell them about it. Maybe your social medias, anything at all.
Search IUNCTURA in YouTube, guys. You can see a lot of content there. It's my scale. I'm one of the social media managers. You can check it out and watch our videos and watch the people from other scales and their videos. It's very fun. There's a lot of different content. You can find things there that caters to your tastes. So there we have like Genshin guides and things about the brain psychology. We have something about video S, so like protection.
And you have Jovin.
You
You have Jovin's computer science course on IUNCTURA.
Yes. Yeah, if you're a grade 10 student and you're having a hard time in Java, you can watch those videos from our very, very talented Java person.
Jovin,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah, Jovin.
Our Lord
Yeah,
and Savior,
she's
Jovin.
yes,
But
he
anyway.
is. Hi, Jovin. Brilliant. Yeah, and also we have cooking videos if that's what you cater to. If you want food, we also have cooking videos. So check out the IUNCTURA YouTube channel. There's a lot of content there for you.
I will be linking the YouTube channel in the description. Please go check and support them. It would mean a lot
Yeah.
to us as grade 11 people that have scales to accomplish. Eventually, you're going to be
Yeah.
doing this too. So, yeah, make
Yes.
sure you prepare. In the meanwhile,
I will say, only advice.
Yeah.
Only advice to the future grade 11 students, just have fun with it. That's
Yeah.
my only advice.
You know what though? I will, or we will, because you're joining me. Oops, spoiler. Well, you know, if you're
Yeah.
if you've watched all 57 minutes until now, you deserve to hear this spoiler. In a future episode, not gonna spoil which episode though, I will be talking more about scale activities because of reasons about spoilers. So
Yes.
stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you're interested in school and Pisay, look out for that video. In the meantime,
I'll be there.
any social medias you would like to shout out? Anywhere you would like people to follow you? You could get new followers.
No. No, I just go to the IUNCTURA YouTube channel. We also have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, and we have an Instagram. Follow those accounts. The only thing you should follow my social media.
All right.
Yes.
I will link their YouTube channel in the description. Please go support them. And for now, that is all I have to say. So, to anyone watching this, good night, good morning,
Bye.
or good afternoon. Goodbye.
Bye.